evening, friends. Let me welcome you once more to the inner sanctum. This is Raymond, your host. Come in, won't you, and sit down? No, I'm not being polite. I'd prefer you to sit, you see, because within the next 5 minutes, you're going to be so weak in the knees that you won't be able to stand.
Inner Sanctum Mysteries again has the pleasure of bringing you the famous star of radio, screen, and stage, now featured in the current Broadway success, Arsenic and Old Lace, Boris Karloff. This evening, Mr. Karloff appears in Robert Newman's dramatization of Edgar Allan Poe's famous story, The Telltale Heart. Presented for your entertainment by the makers of Carter's Little Liver Pill, the best friend to your sunny disposition. Story based on a tale by the greatest master of the macabre that ever lived, Edgar Allan Poe. The story of a man who could hear not only every sound on earth, but even things that don't exist. So, turn down the lights, call in a friend or neighbor to keep you company, and listen to Boris Karloff as Simon in The Telltale Heart. It's early evening. The sun is just setting behind a range of low hills. On top of the nearest hill is a huge rambling building surrounded by park-like grounds. A road winds from its gates down to the little village below. Down this road comes a man. He's tall, gaunt, his hair snow white. He's so busy with his thoughts that he doesn't see the small, dark man who sits by the roadside. But just as he is about to pass him...
Good evening.
Huh? Oh, why, good evening.
Nice evening, isn't it?
Nice? Why, it's the most wonderful, perfect evening I'll ever know this side of heaven.
You don't say.
And you can't know what it's like to feel as if you'd just risen from the dead. As if your tomb was opened. And you were told that you could return to the world that you knew and loved.
Can't I?
You can't. You see, my name is Simon. I was a musician. 2 years ago, I went stone deaf. Suddenly. Completely. Do you know what deafness means to a musician? It's like dying. Or worse. Like dying and knowing that you're dead. Oh, I went to doctors, but they could do nothing for me. But finally... one of them sent me to see the doctor who has the place up on the hill here.
Dr. Adair?
Yes, Dr. Adair. He kept me with him for 6 months, and now I'm going home again.
He cured you? You can hear?
Hear? Listen. Listen hard, and tell me what you can hear right now.
Nothing very much. The wind? Cricket?
Cricket. And the wind. Do you know what I can hear? I can hear the grass growing, the sap rising in the trees. I can hear the stars moving in their courses. I can hear things that no man ever heard before. Now, do you know why I said that this was the most wonderful evening that ever was?
Yes, Simon. But I knew why before. You see, I just left the place up on the hill myself.
You left there? You mean...
When I was taken there, I was blind.
Oh, your eyes, yes. I hadn't noticed before, but they are strange. Shall we walk on together?
Simon? Just where did you plan to go?
Well, I've been thinking about that for weeks now. All the weeks when I couldn't leave my room. I must get used to being able to hear again, gradually. From my window, I could see an old mill, just this side of the village.
Yes, it's deep in the woods, deserted. There's moss on the water wheel, and the door hangs open by one hinge.
You mean that you can see it from here?
My eyes have become as good as your hearing. You thought of going there, living there?
For a while. Until I was ready to return to the world. Oliver, Why don't you come with me? Then when we are both ready, we can go back together to the world.
I could do that.
Think of what it's going to mean, how much we're going to be able to help people. You with your sight and I with my hearing.
Help them? Yes. Yes, of course. All right, Simon. We'll go to your old mill.
This way, Oliver. Up this path.
Ozzy! Someone's coming.
The farmer, he seems to be looking for something.
Good evening. I'm looking for my cow. Have you seen her?
Well, what kind of a cow is she?
A brown and a white one with a crooked horn.
Wait. I hear her. She's grazing in a field on the other side of the woods.
Hear her? That's almost a mile from here.
I have good ears.
Good. You must have ears like a fox. But that field, that's the squire's. How did she get there?
You think someone took her? Who would?
Well, it's the squire's land, but he's the richest man around here. Why should he have taken my cow?
Wait a minute. Let me see. Yes, I do see someone with your cow. He's just leaving her.
You can see that? Right through the woods?
I have good eyes.
Who is it? What's he like? Is he tall, wearing a brown jacket?
Yes.
I knew it. It's the squire. He's trying to steal my cow. I'd better go get her. Thank you very much. Perhaps I'll see you both again.
Perhaps. We'll both be staying around here for a while there in the old mill.
Why did you tell him that, Oliver? Did you really see the squire taking his cow?
I saw what he wanted me to see.
What do you mean?
He hates the squire because the squire's rich and he's poor.
But what?
Never mind, Simon. Shall we go on to the mill?
Here we are. And it's just the way I knew it would be. Quiet, peaceful, no noises, just sound. And even those are down by the waterfall.
Yes, it's just the way I knew it would be, too. Dark, dank. The home of the rats and spiders. We'll be happy living here with them.
Happy with rats and spiders? Why?
Because they're like me. Rats see in the dark, and spiders spin webs.
I don't understand you, Oliver. Must you always see the worst, the most evil side of everything?
Always.
But why? Don't you love people? Don't you think that this is a good world?
A good world when I was blind for more than 2 years?
But whose fault was that?
What difference does that make? I was blind. And did anyone care that I was? No. Love people. I hate them.
But, Oliver, that's wrong. You've no right to hate anyone or anything.
What's that?
It sounds like wings, like... Yes, there it is, there. A swallow. Why, it's frightened, trying to get out. Why, it's beating itself against the wall and... Oh, poor thing, it's hurt itself. Fallen to the ground. I'd better catch it.
Is it badly hurt?
No, I don't think so. Oh, just this one wing.
Let's see. Perhaps we can put a splint on it, heal it.
Do you think so? Here, Oliver. But be gentle. It's still terribly frightened.
I will.
Oh, Oliver! What are you doing to that bird?
Doing...
Blood, you crushed the swallow, killed it.
Why, so I have.
You killed it deliberately.
You think so? I told you we all have some badness deep inside us. Even you. Here you are ready to believe the worst of me, that I'd wantonly crush a harmless little sparrow to death and... Simon.
What is it?
I don't know, but there's something in your face. Something that wasn't there before.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm going up to bed.
Simon! Simon, wait!
It wasn't he that was blind. It was I. Oh, he is bad, evil, clean through. He's like one of the spiders he loved so much, lurking here and spinning cunning webs to catch innocent people in. And what he saw in my face just now, there was something there. Something that wasn't there before. Death. Why did this have to happen to me? I was so happy just a little while ago. I loved everyone, the whole world. And now I have to kill him.
And here I am, friend, Raymond, your host in the inner sanctum, who also loves everyone. So, Simon has decided he must murder his companion. Not because he wants to, but in order to keep him from spreading the hate and evil he seems to love. That's a charming idea. But if Oliver's eyes are as good as he says they are, good enough to see death in Simon's face, how will he be able to do it, Quite a problem, isn't it?
Well, Raymond, everyone has problems. It's the answer that counts.
It certainly does, Mr. Hurley, in a mystery drama.
Yes, and in a domestic drama, too. If you don't believe it, listen to what Agnes Vale says to her husband at the dinner table.
Oh, Bob, you haven't said a word about the cake, and I baked it especially for your birthday.
After 30, no one wants to be reminded of birthdays.
That's silly. Besides, a person's only as old as they feel.
Well, if that was the case, I'd be about 60.
You mean 90. No one could save up the grouch you've got in only 60 years.
If you felt as irritable, low, and out of sorts as I have lately, you'd be grouchy, too.
Of course I would. Anybody would. So the thing to do is not to feel that way.
What can anyone do about it?
Very simple, my dear. Try Carter's Little Liver Pills.
Right, and when you don't feel good, try Carter's Little Liver Pills. They do the work of calomel but have no calomel in them, for they are simple pills made of vegetable drugs. They wake up the flow of one of our most vital digestive juices. When this vital juice flows at the rate of 2 pints a day, it helps to digest our food and bring back the glorious feeling that goes with regularity. Then most folks feel like happy days are here again. But be sure you get the genuine Carter's Little Liver Pill.
Well, friends, are you sorry I advised you to sit down before? I thought not. You still want me to go on with the story of the Telltale Heart? Very well. It's a little later that same evening, and Simon is sitting in the upper story of the old deserted mill, waiting, listening.
Sleep, Oliver, sleep. Aren't you ever going to sleep? Oh, I know you're lying down. I heard you getting undressed. I even heard the thread snap when you pulled that button off your shirt. But you're not asleep yet. I can tell by your breathing, the way your heart's beating. And that's what I must wait for. The time when you're really asleep. When you close those hawk eyes that can see even in the dark. That could read murder in my face when I didn't know it was there myself. Wait a minute. There. Now you're asleep. And now I must go. Easy with the door. Careful. And even more careful going down the stairs. Shh. Don't creak like that. Suppose he wakes. No, he can't. He won't wake up. He can't. And even if he does... here we are. The door to his room. How shall I do it? Those sacks he's using as a pillow. If I pulled them out and held them over his face and smothered him, that's it, yes. And then I wouldn't have to touch him. I wouldn't.
Who's that? Who's there? There is someone there. I can see you. It's Simon.
Yes, it's Simon.
What do you want? What are you doing here? I know you've come to kill me.
Yes, Oliver. I've come to kill you.
You can't do that. You can't.
Yes, Oliver, I can. And I have to. Oh, please don't struggle like that. I'm stronger than you are. You can't get away from me. You can't. You can't. That noise. Hear it? It's your heart. Beating, pounding, driving the blood through your veins. It's beating more slowly now. Slower and fainter. Running down like a tired clock. And I'm not going to let you go until it's stopped. So don't struggle. Don't struggle, please. Just a few seconds more. I can hardly hear it now. Just a faint, throbbing murmur. And now, even that's gone. Yes, it stopped. And you're dead. Oliver, listen. I didn't want to do it. I didn't, but I had to. You were only interested in hurting people. That's why I had to do it. And that's why I'm not going to give myself up or confess that I killed you, because I can still help people. You understand, don't you? That's why I must get rid of your body, hide it somewhere. Oh, what am I to do with you? I know. I'll keep you here, tear up the floor and hide you underneath it. Let's see now, this crowbar. And this one here, there. That should be big enough. And now, in you go. Goodbye, Oliver. Goodbye. Just put these boards back. Nail them down again with the same rusty nails. And it's done. Now I'll spread this dust over the cracks. No one will be able to tell what I've done. No, not even with your eyes. If you could still use them. What's that? A light. A lantern outside. Someone at the door. Maybe Crispy's come back again. Yes? Who is it?
It's Trent, the constable.
The constable? What do you want?
Oh, nothing much. Thought I'd drop in. Say hello.
Come in, constable. Come right in.
Thanks. Queer time of night to be visiting, but I heard there were strangers living out here, and I thought I might...
Why, of course, it's part of your job to investigate strangers, isn't it?
In a way. Not that you're a stranger, exactly.
What do you mean?
Well, you've been around here for some time, haven't you? Up at Dr. Adair's place in the hill, I mean?
Oh, yes, of course. I just left there this afternoon.
Uh-huh. And your friend, where's he? Sleeping?
Friend? Why, there's no one here with me. I'm all alone.
But the doctor said... You mind if I look around?
No, of course not.
Not that I doubt your word or anything like that.
Oh, no, don't apologize, Constable. Go right ahead. Well, Constable?
Certainly no sign of anyone else.
Well, I told you so.
Yes, you did. Now, I'll just sit down here for a minute. I'll get my pipe going.
No, not there. Don't sit there.
Why not?
Because, well, it was just that the floor looked a little rotten right there, and I was afraid that... Oh, I guess it's all right.
Sure. Strong enough to hold me, anyway.
Don't stop me if I catch you. Good heavens. What's that?
What's what?
That throbbing. That noise. Beating away like...
I don't hear any noise.
But you must, those ears of mine. Sometimes they're too good. It's just your watch ticking.
Watch? I haven't got a watch on me.
You haven't? But then what? Oh, look, Constable, I could use a bit of exercise. Suppose I walk you back to the village.
Well, that's mighty nice of you. I'm glad to have your company. But there's no hurry, is there? Just let's sit here for a while.
I don't want to sit. Constable, will you come now? Now, this minute. If you don't, I don't know what I'll do.
Hey, you have gotten yourself into a state. Is anything the matter?
No, of course not. Just that I get nervous, restless, and you won't mind if I walk up and down right here, will you?
It'll make you feel any better. Go ahead.
Thank you. This floor, it is noisy, isn't it? It isn't noisy enough. Constable, this lever here, I've been wondering about it. What's it for, you know?
Yes, I think it opens the sluice, starts the middle wheel turning.
It does? Then let's try it. See if it still works. There.
Yeah, still works all right. Quite a racket, too.
You're not loud enough, Bill. Constable, for heaven's sake, will you come now? Leave here with me. If you don't, I'll go back.
Look, there's no need to get so excited.
I'm not excited. I'm perfectly calm and quiet. Will you come now, right away?
I told you.
I know what you're doing. Sitting there, pretending you haven't heard, making me stay here and listen to it, beating louder and louder and louder. All right, I confess. I killed him. His body is right underneath you, under the floor. I killed him, and that noise you hear is his heart. The beating of his telltale heart.
Hello, Dr. Adair.
Oh, Constable, hello. Well, did you find them?
Yes, Doctor. I'm glad. Some of my boys will be bringing the other one, Oliver, along in a little while.
Bringing him? What's the matter with him?
Well, sort of. They were in the old mill by the river. Simon had evidently tried to kill Oliver, but he hadn't done a good job of it. He nailed him up underneath the floor. And when we got him out, he was unconscious, and he's still pretty weak.
I see. Bring Simon in, will you?
Sure. All right, Simon. In here.
Yes, Constable?
Now, turn him around so that he's facing me. That's it. Well, hello, Simon.
Hello, Doctor.
Simon, why did you run away from here this afternoon?
Run away? I didn't run away. I left. What need was there for me to stay when I was cured?
Oh. And what you did, or rather tried to do to Oliver?
That was wrong. I know it was wrong, but I had to do it. He was bad, Doctor, bad. He hated everyone, wanted to hurt them, and I couldn't let him.
You know, it's strange, Constable. Two men, both mental cases because of a sudden affliction. But while Oliver's blindness made him hate, Simon's deafness filled him with love for all mankind.
Deafness? You mean he's deaf? But when you talk to him, he answers you.
Yes, he reads lips. That's why I had you turn him around, so he was facing me. But he's stone deaf. He will never hear again.
What's that you're saying? Deaf? But I'm not deaf. Why, there's no one can hear better than I. No one. I heard everything when I left here. Things no man has ever heard before. The song of the swan. The breathing of the fish. Why, I even heard the beating of Oliver's heart. After I'd killed him.
Yes, Simon, of course.
I'm not deaf, I tell you. I'm not. I'm not.
So, Simon did hear all the things he said he did. Even the beating of the telltale heart. And not with his ears, but with something else deep inside his poor, thick brain. Speaking of telltale heart, I'm sorry, it's not a heart at all. It's just Mr. Hurley's knees knocking together.
And if you think you're kidding, Raymond, you're crazy.
Oh, I'm not kidding, Ed. In Mr. Karloff's audiences, that's the equivalent of applause. Since everyone's generally much too scared to show the usual approval with their hands. So we won't take any chances. We'll just use words and say, thanks, Boris Karloff, for your splendid performance of tonight's dramatization of Poe's The Telltale Heart.
It was a pleasure, Raymond, to be able to bring our friends one of the world's most famous stories. And I'm very grateful to Everett Sloane as Oliver and Santos Ortiaga, who played Christie, for the help that they gave me. So now I suggest that you listen to Ed Hurley, who has some helpful advice for which you may be very grateful.
This is Raymond again, your host, getting ready to close that door to the inner sanctum and say goodnight until the same time next week. In the meantime, if you care to do a little bloodthirsty reading, try this month's Inner Sanctum novel, I'll Eat You Last, by H.C. Brandon. In case you've already read that, why not try some of the other stories by the author of tonight's mystery drama, Edgar Allan Poe. According to all critics, this writer has quite a future. Have a good night. Pleasant dreams,
Inner Sanctum Mysteries will be on the air again next Sunday night, same station, same time, with another chiller for thriller fans. So be with us then. This is Ed Hurley, speaking for the makers of Carter's Little Liver Pills and reminding you, when you don't feel good, try Carter's Little Liver Pills, the best friend to your sunny disposition.
This is the Blue Network of the National Broadcasting Company.
Good evening, friends. This is your host to welcome you through the creaking door into the inner sanctum. Come in, come in. Brrr. It's getting cold. Yeah, we're all blowing on our hands. Those of us that have hands. One character who hangs his sheet in our happy little inferno got frostbite so bad we had to amputate his leer. Oh, well, at least the big freeze has brought us one blighted blessing. The stiffs around here will keep refrigerator fresh.
Tonight's Inner Sanctum mystery, Murder Faces East, was written by John Robert and stars Carl Swenson in the role of Steve with Charlotte Holland as Selina.
Tonight's candidate for oblivion is a chap whose hobby is collecting nightmares. Oblivion comes with a crash when our boy discovers an idol is no idle jest. Hang on, everybody, and we'll fill in the gory details. We're in a gloomy cell of a city prison in San Francisco. On the edge of a lower bunk, sitting with bowed head, is a man, a recent arrest. He's still dressed in street clothes. His tie is missing, so are his suspenders, confiscated as a precaution against suicide. His eyes fix intently on the stone floor, as if trying to stare a blind spot out of his vision. And his mouth twists into a distorted curve of amusement.
I've got $1 million. I can't even buy a tie or a pair of suspenders or even 5 cents worth of freedom. Began for me with a penny postcard in the mail. Selina, my wife, read the card to me over the breakfast table.
Public auction of the estate of Hanson Brokaw. Rare Oriental treasures. Masked statuary talisman.
I went. Some fellas play chess or collect stamps. I hobbied in Orientalism. Selina came along to see that my blood pressure didn't pop bids out of my mouth or to bankrupt us for a month. 100 lots had been sold, a parade of bronzes, ceramics, and brocades that were the haunting fascination of the Orient. Lot number 101 on the platform was a bronze Hindu idol, small, 6 inches high, with a sardonic grin that looked real, as if a human laughing face had been frozen into a bronze mold.
Number 101, a Hindu idol. Bit lively, folks. $50.
75.
Steve, you're mad.
No, I want it, Selina.
Not over 100, darling. We can't afford it.
$75. $100 now. 100.
I hesitated. And then the idol decided it for me. I watched it move subtly, just for my eyes. It moved to the east, toward my aisle position. compelling me, as if an invisible string was drawn between us.
$200. $200. 200 once, 200 twice. Sold to Mr. Kavanagh.
I owned the Hindu idol. At the close of the sale, Selina and I were leaving when a man approached us, a gaunt, swarthy man with hollowed-out cheeks, wearing an eastern fez. Mr. Kavanagh. Yes? I am told you are the fortunate purchaser of the laughing idol. What about it? It was my intention to buy it, but I arrived too late. My car was delayed in traffic. Oh, that's too bad. Better luck next time. Perhaps I can be lucky this time. If you will sell the idol to me. Oh, I don't think so. The Honorable Hansen Brokaw, its late owner, was found mysteriously killed. An ancient Burmese axe embedded in his skull. Oh, why do you want the idol? Like the late Mr. Brokaw, I am a collector. Oh. I will pay you a very handsome profit. How much? $5,000. No sale, mister. No sale at any price. Outside, we were hurrying up a deserted side street, me clutching the idol, when the promise of things to come began in a rush.
$5,000, Stevie, offered you a fortune.
So I couldn't sell it. Don't ask me why, Selene. I just couldn't. Rifle shot. Came from across the street, someone firing down from an open window. Quick, come on, duck into the alley. Somehow we got home alive and whole. Selena went to bed in tears. Her brother Howard, who lived with us, coaxed the story from her. I hate to play patsy between a man and his wife, Steve, but isn't possession of that idol kind of borrowing trouble? We don't know that, Howard. Someone tried to kill you. There were 2 rifle shots from a window. That's all we know. We don't know that they had to do with the idol. Someone did offer you $5,000 for an idol you picked up for $200. Now, how about a little sense? Get rid of it, Steve. No. That idol was on the auction stand facing the middle aisle when the bidding began. And I was sitting on the side aisle. When I wanted to quit bidding, it moved to the east, toward me. See, I was meant to buy it. I was meant to own it. I was meant to own it. I set the idol on a strip of oriental silk in the center of my desk and sat looking at it, studying it. It sat grinning at me, as if enjoying a secret surprise it had already prepared for me. Hello?
I speak with Sir Stephen Kavanagh.
You are?
You were pleased to come to the mosque on Street Karaka, house number 24.
What for?
When you come, you will know, Sab. And please to come after dark with the idol.
After dark. I was to come to a mosque in Frisco's Oriental Quarter after dark. Another man, any other man, would get on the phone to police headquarters. But I went. 24 Caracas Street. A cop's whistle out of Frisco's Chinatown. The place was empty. No furnishings, just a few scattered prayer rugs, a makeshift altar, and a bony old man wearing a fez. It was chalk white, as if he just climbed off an embalming table.
The Sir Stephen Kavanagh.
In person.
I am Jin Khan.
Okay. Tell me why I'm here.
Because you possess the laughing idol, and because it is written that Jin Khan must serve the possessor of the idol.
Serve me? How?
Your danger is great, Sahib.
Huh?
Now, see, your enemies will strike, but you will reach riches and power. The idol will show you the way, and Jin Khan will serve you.
Serve me? How?
Now, see, it is written that when it faces to the east, Jin Khan will talk to his ancestors and then come to you.
I wrapped the idol up and left. 1,000 doubts were whispering in my head. Outside, I had to pinch myself to remember that I was in the States. Everybody had closed up shop and gone home. The street was deserted, not a sound. Except the cat's whining meow. And then I got a sample of what Jin Khan had meant by your dangerous crate. The first I knew of it was a cold breeze whistling an inch past my head. A sharp-edged instrument had narrowly shaved me and buried into a building side. It was an ancient Burmese axe, 1 inch closer, and I would have been dead.
Nothing like a hobby. Keeps you mentally fit to be tied. But what gives? A chap buys an auction sales bargain and some creep applauds him with a blast of gunfire. And to top it off with a hand-tooled coffin lid, a second creep chirps bravo with an axe. Looks like that Hindu idol is going to make Saab Kavanaugh permanently idle. Let's see exactly how said retirement is accomplished, shall we?
I sat around at home for days with the idol right in my view. My wife, Selina, avoided me. She suspected my sanity. I was moving the Dark Ages right into the middle of my home. I watched the idol for hours, hypnotized by it. It sat grinning at me. And then I saw it move to the east. A gong I'd once picked up in an eastern bazaar and hung on the foyer of my den sounded.
Sahib Kavanaugh.
How'd you get in here?
There are informal ways, Sahib. The idol faces to the east.
Yes, right under my eyes it moved.
I have spoken to my ancestors. Now I will offer you the second of my humble services, Sahib.
The second? What was the first?
The axe that buried harmlessly into the wall when you left the mosque. You live, Sahib. That was my first service.
And the second? What's it?
It is written that the Chandra ruby will fall to you.
What is the Chandra ruby?
You will know, Sahib, when you seize it. On this paper, you will find your instructions. Go after dark. Goodbye, Sahib.
I opened the paper. It was a message scribbled on old rice parchment. A drawing like a surveyor's map with some writing on it. It said, Mount Fiore Cemetery. The drawing was a picture of an exposed coffin, and in it was a figure dressed up like a mummy in a sarcophagus. And markers showed the exact position of the grave. And an arrow pointed to the left eye of the corpse. That night after dark, I stole into the Mount Fiore Cemetery. Storm was threatening. The grave had no markings, no tombstone. I dug 4 feet down. I reached the coffin. It lay exposed, with the rumbling skies giving it a ghostly glow as if someone had rubbed it with phosphorus. I wedged the edge of a pick into a side and pried it open. Exactly as drawn, it was a mummified corpse, a strip of face, what was left of it, peeked out. Just the nose, the eyes, and part of the brow. One socket was empty, and the other, the left eye, the eye marked by an arrow on the drawing, gleamed red. A lightning spear in the sky caught its radiance, and the eye seemed to burst with a ruby fire. And then flicker, and dim as the lightning passed. The Chandra Ruby, Jin Khan had said. I was the owner of the Chandra Ruby. A rare Oriental ruby set in the skull of a corpse. Well, I didn't swallow that. Going home, I dropped into Saperstein's jewelry store for an appraisal.
Rubies, as you know, fluctuate in value.
Well, yes, I know, but just give me an approximate idea. Is it worth, say, $1,000?
You can safely multiply that figure by 50, sir, for an approximately fair price.
$50,000? For days, I hardly slept watching that idol. And then on the fourth day, the idol moved again to the east.
I have spoken with my ancestors. It is written that you will reach great wealth and power. But first, an unhappy task awaits you, Sab.
Oh, an unhappy task?
You must kill to save yourself.
Kill?
Yes, Sahib.
Who do I have to kill?
Your wife.
Kill Selena? No, that's insane. Why?
To save yourself. Her hatred for you rages in her mind like a fever. Her wish to destroy you is overwhelming.
Selena kill me? No, I don't believe that.
It is so written. Search her mind, Sab, and you will know. Search her mind and convince yourself.
Jin was gone. Murderer or be murdered. That was something to swallow. Search her mind, Jin Khan had said twice as if there were a clue in his speech. Search her mind. How was I to search her mind so that I could know? I thought about it hard all through the evening. And then, her diary. Selena kept a diary faithfully. I found her diary in a drawer of the night table. Selena was fast asleep. I thumbed through it noiselessly, reading into Selena's secret mind. Jin Khan was right. Selena lived only to hate me. A page written just the day before proved it.
The unbearable agony of life with Steve. The bleak, sick days and the terror. When he touches me, I wither and fall away. One day I will destroy him. I must, or be destroyed.
Destroy, or be destroyed. Murder, or be murdered. I stared over at Selena, and then something, the intensity of my thinking maybe, awakened her.
Steve, you've been prying into my diary.
No, not into your diary, into your mind. I've been prying into your secret mind.
Steve, what's come over you?
A revelation.
What?
I have been living with a fraud, a murdering fraud.
Steve, you're out of your mind.
Kill or be killed. Do you hear, Selena? Marriage boils down to a comical simplification. Kill or be killed. Murder or be murdered. Isn't it funny, Selena, huh?
No, please, Steve, no!
In 2 minutes, it was over. I left her curled in her last sleep, turned the key in the lock. I had thinking to do. And planning. How did a sudden widower explain his deceased wife away to a curious world? Still hadn't finished. Hadn't found the answer when Howard came to the breakfast table.
Steve, if I could speak up frankly, just once. Straight from the shoulder.
Go ahead.
That Orientalism mania of yours is degenerating you into something unhealthy. Now, why not call it quits? Selena's edgy and depressed. She feels rejected.
You push her too hard, she's capable of harming herself. Harming herself? You're hinting at suicide? Yes, Steve. I'm hinting at that. Exactly.
That was my way out. Suicide. Selena just wouldn't come back from her early morning walk. They'd find her in a lake, a victim of despondency and hysteria. When night came, I'd transfer the corpse to another setting.
Somebody is at my door. Yes?
Western Union. Telegram for Mr. Stephen Kavanaugh.
Well, I'll take it. I'm Mr. Kavanaugh.
Sign here.
A telegram for Selena? I opened it. Came from New York. Firm of Englander, Fowler, and Barbanell, attorneys at law. The wording was a formal invitation to appear and collect about $1 million. This is to inform you that the will of your late uncle, Thomas DeHaven Chalmers, names you as sole beneficiary. Please communicate to us the date of your arrival in New York. A crackpot recluse that we'd often joked about had left Selena $1 million that she didn't have the slightest use for now. Great wealth and power, Jin Khan had promised. By succession, the fortune was mine now, if I could make murder the perfect crime. When night came, I drove Selena toward Apple Lake. It was just outside of town. Selena was fully dressed, gloves, shoulder bag, right down to the last accessory. A frantic wife on a solitary walk had taken a fatal plunge. I got to the lake. I carried her carefully to the water's edge, ready to complete her suicide. I never got to carry out my plan.
It won't work, Kavanaugh. You can't get away with murder. 4 other troopers besides myself are ready to blast you. Try to make a fight for it.
How'd you know to follow me here?
5 minutes before you started for Apple Lake, your brother-in-law got a peek into your wife's bedroom through the porch window.
I'm in a city prison on the first lap that leads to the electric chair.
Kavanaugh.
Yeah?
That hysterical yarn you blabbed at the prison stenographer when we brought you in.
Yes.
We checked every detail. Nothing checked.
Okay, so I'm nuts. I had a nightmare.
We stopped in at Saperstein's jewelry store, just for the sake of routine. At Saperstein's, your zany story suddenly rang true.
Oh?
We ran into as ingenious a plot as I've ever encountered.
Ingenious plot?
It was at Saperstein's that your brother-in-law, Howard, purchased the stone you called the Chandra Ruby.
Howard?
Mm-hmm. We got a confession out of him.
Why?
To capitalize on your weakness for Oriental bunkum. It was worth investing $50,000 for a genuine ruby. Worth forging entries in your wife's diary. And putting you through the paces as he did. All to sell you the idea of murdering your wife. He knew an uncle had died in New York. That after Selena, the sole heiress, you came. That after you burned for the murder of your wife, he came.
But Jin Khan.
A hired stooge. Like the man who offered to buy the idol from you after that auction sale. Everything that happened to you was staged from a script prepared by your brother-in-law. And you played leading man, as if you were born to the role. Sucker.
An Oriental onion peeler once remarked,
Examine your relative carefully, Bob. What looks like an in-law might actually be an outlaw.
anyhow, it's an ill wind. Me. There's nothing like an auction sale to pass the time. Right into tomorrow. Those 3 little words, going, gone. Steve's going, Howard's going, and Selena's gone. The only thing left standing up is that unclaimed $1 million. Interested? Somebody?
This is the
United States Armed Forces Radio Service, the voice of information and education.